Greetings, tabletop addicts and adventurers in recovery. My name is Stubbii, and I'm joined by my co-host and partner in everything chaotic and critical, Gygis. Welcome to Talking Crit, your critical role companion podcast for Campaign 4.
That's right. Every week, we slice through the story threads of Critical Role Campaign 4, scene by scene, with theories, insights, and plenty of bold predictions along the way.
And today, we're covering Episode 3, The Snipping of Shears. This one's got it all. Emotional cuts, sharp turns, and arguably one of the most unsettling scenes we've gotten from Campaign 4 so far.
We'll walk through the full episode, beat by beat, unpacking the key character moments, the tensions that build beneath the surface, and what this all means for the party going forward.
So grab your dice, grab your drink, and get comfortable, because we've got a lot to unpack. But fair warning, spoilers ahead for Campaign 4, Episode 3. You've been warned.
All right, let's do our deep dive of Episode 3 of Campaign 4. We begin with Teor Pridesire, who has been directed to approach the head of security for House Halavar, Sir Felonious Halavar, under the guise of seeking employment. He's sent to the Mercantile Courtier, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, to be outfitted appropriately. Teor wonders what his true assignment is. Meanwhile, in the city market, Julian Davinos departs the Palazzo Davinos to pursue knowledge of Octus Taconis' whereabouts. Since Octus is missing and connected to major events, Julian notices Teor in the marketplace, and the two characters' paths begin to highlight the broader intrigues at play.
I will say here, I do think it's hilarious how, whenever we get the interaction, Julian very obviously knows that the plan is that the Halavars are going to send him off to this mercantile to get mercantiled, and he says nothing about it. So, we're just, we're left more with, wow, Julian's an asshole. He really does not care.
And it's like, okay, this is the tailor. It's like, okay, a tailor. Wait, hold on. What kind of tailor?
Right. This is Sweeney Todd. Just Sweeney Todd meets Edward Scissorhands. But whenever, because also in this, we get to see that Teor gets to the mercantile as well during this cold open, and during that he has his whole, he goes in and gets the incense going, doing it, and he notices that these incense, they're doing something to my body, and he doesn't really know what, and then out of nowhere he has to roll two wisdom saving throws at disadvantage. He wasn't going to make that. There was no way.
Good boy. So he has to roll two disadvantage for a wisdom saving throw. Which, remind me, how successful was he?
Not. Literally, so one of them, he failed at I think it was a 6 or a 4 or something. And then the second disadvantage rolls he had double nat ones. So there was no way. He wasn't going to make it.
Which double nat ones is nuts.
Yeah, but furthermore, there was just okay, he had to make wisdom saving throws at disadvantage, and it was 2 of them. it was just he was not going to get out of there. Like Tayor was meant to be there, and I like something that I know you have talked to me about, and we've seen in other stuff in other places, is that like people aren't super happy with this side of our new campaign. Is that the campaign is very railroad right now. It's going to be very linear, and it's very like we're gonna do A, and then we're gonna go through B, and then C is gonna happen, and we know D is gonna happen. Like, we don't know, but they probably almost definitely do. Or at least Brennan for sure knows exactly what's gonna happen, and they know that they're just kind of along for the ride right now. Because I feel like this is
I think is totally fine.
Yeah, because I believe this is just a prequel.
Brennan has already said, I'm going to set a precedence for this whole campaign. And that, that was kind of like it started with, I'm going to start a precedence with touching things will have a consequence. And so setting pre-recorded episodes, this is just the introduction. This is kind of if this was playing a video game, this is the tutorial. Mm-hmm. We are understanding as the audience what the game is. Then we're going to get into it. We are so early,
Yes.
We're not 100 episodes in. This is episode 3.
Yes, episode 3. And we're this is all like groundwork. Like, I think some people are looking at this as episode 1 and 2, where we're just kind of thrown into a story and they're meant to just kind of go wherever with it. This is a very meticulously planned out campaign, not to the point where I believe that everything is scripted and everything is pre-planned, but I believe that these first 4 episodes, the main story and where people end, we're going to start at place A and this person's going to end at B. That is planned.
There's a roadmap.
A, they're start at A and they're meant to go to C, but we don't know what B is going to hold. And that could be anything. And that's where he said that have your second characters prepared, is even in this, he has where he wants them to end up, but they may not make it there. They may die. That is the only other, I think, possibility right now, is that, for instance, we get to, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but to touch on it, whenever they declare the soldiers. Those 5, I think, were predetermined before the campaign ever started, before episode 1 ever started. Now, if one of those people had died before getting there, okay, we're going to have to change some things. But it wasn't going to change that Tayor was always going to be a soldier or whatever. It was...
Yeah. It's a gamble of the characters, but not gambling on the story.
Right. So, and I think that will stop at episode 4. Episode 4 will be the last episode where we have that, where things are more pre-planned than I think we would like. And I think at episode 5, we will have a lot more where it's up in the wind. We could literally, like I said in our episode 1, we could have one team killing off the other team. The soldiers could come in and wipe out the Seekers because it is at what they wanted to do. Now, I doubt that's going to happen. It's not good for television at all. So I do think there is going to be some pre-plannedness to that, where it's hey, let's try to let's make good television, make good decisions for that purpose, not for the purpose of your whimsy,
I like the dynamic of having characters, these main characters, these people that we actually have at the tables. Some of them, like Julian, are almost villainous. So we don't know what's going to happen, but there also seems to be kind of an arc there. We're learning a lot more. And then, that's also jumping ahead. But having that with 13 people, at least a dozen people, with multiple people on screen at any time, I just love that dynamic that anyone at any moment could become a problem. And we don't really know who or when or where it's going to happen at yet.
Oh yeah, and I mean, with that, we don't know who or what's gonna happen. This leads us into our next part, because I did not expect a lot of what comes from this part right here. Because this one, I feel like where we are at the Villa Aurora with Hal, I mean not Hal, with Wick, Halavar, sorry, that's where I got that from. We see the what has come of our previous episode. We're seeing that what we get more of an explanation from what we got from the Photarch previously of like what she meant by meet your grandpa. Like what? What it meant, and it was exactly what I said it was, and not what they thought it was in the cooldown, where they thought the Photarch got freaky with a celestial. No, it was they did some experimentation with the filament, and which is the blood of this being.
You called it.
I called it, which I figured, like, there was no way that we were getting a kaiju.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, a 30-foot tall angel is, I mean, she'd be dead.
Yeah, she would be dead. Yeah. Unless we are now going to start a stereotype about angels.
Oh god, there's so many other things I could say that I'm not going to.
Right. But with all of this, I think it's crazy that so they've brainwashed him since he was a kid, and now they're coming back through and still keeping the brainwash going. Like, they're like, oh, it's his blood? And the Photarch's like, no, it's not his blood. It doesn't have blood. It's light. Well, yeah, it comes from within its body. It's the fluid that it lives from and makes up it, and, you know, yeah, it's its blood. You know, like, it... Shut the fuck up. Like, no, it's blood. Stop it.
Let's not sugarcoat it anymore, Wiki. It's his blood. You're consuming an angel's blood.
Yeah, that's... I think she was just trying to... like what you said. She was trying to sugarcoat it. And
also, he's got the tattoos. He has angel's blood inside of him.
Yeah, he has tattooed on him. That's like basically using blood as ink to tattoo onto you. That's crazy. Like, wild. So yeah.
And I just think it's wild that it's, oh, hey, here's your grandfather. We put him in an Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
That's
Here's your grandpa. I have been eternally torturing him. But another cool thing that we lore drop of the god of light, Tansel. I don't know how that was pronounced or how that was spelled. I spelled it Tansel. I bet I'm completely wrong on that. And then a little bit more information on the sundered families, learning kind of what that means. We learned that this is, like, basically the sundered part of it refers to the lands that the gods died on. And the lands that the gods died on were owned by these different families, the Halavars, the Draconuses, the Royce family, or Royce family. I'm thinking Attack on Titans. My bad.
Nice.
And, which, I mean, is very similar, but we're not going to get into that. They, and like many other families as well, they had these lands that the gods died on and ruined the lands. Halavars of these families did not have a place to go other than here in dol-makjar. The Draconuses and the Royce families, they are these families of the dark and the light, is kind of what we're hinted at now. That the Draconuses deal in the shadows of the place between life and death. They were given domain over funeral ceremonies and all of that type of stuff. Whereas the Royce family was they own I guess, land between whatever here is. Because she does not, the Photarch does not explain what she means by here. She could mean by the realm, the plane of existence they're on. They could literally mean physically dol-makjar. But between here and the fairies, which I'm assuming they mean by the Fey Wilds, that's where the fairies come from. They own this place that is out there, so they had a place to retreat to. Them and the Taconuses both had. Gave us some insight to why the Halavars kind of are the way how they are. They were trying to keep up with these families that had other beings backing them. The Taconuses having the undead, the Royce having the Fae. And now we have the Halavars who have made a contract with the demons, and then also have been dealing with celestials. So they're kind of on both opposite spectrums here. They've made these deals with the demons to come in and help sway the masses and make their political endeavors kind of go their way. And in return, they're giving filament. Exactly, again, what I said.
Right.
One of my working theories came to fruition.
Demons feeding off of an angel's blood.
Mm-hmm. Which is so. I mean, I feel like it was mildly obvious. Mildly.
Right.
Just because if they have this giant angel, then what other reason?
I like, if I'm not jumping ahead too much, we've got that whole scenario where it's like, yes, we have made a contract with demons, but tyranny, it's like, I didn't make a contract with your family. The contract is with you. And I found that very pivotal. It's like, that really makes me think that, yes, tyranny is going to follow Wick.
Right.
Which probably no matter what happens.
Right. Which
we already know. But
what that happens. But I mean, in the moment, no, I agree with you. Like, I was wondering, like, if the deal between the demons and the Halavars are probably like with the Halavars, not Wick, then how is this going to go? But then having the information that, the deal is specifically with Wick, which I don't know how that worked out, because he would have had to like agree to that in some way, and I'm sure it was just all a part of the smoke and mirrors that they had up for him.
Right. Because that's a whole lifetime right there.
Right. But then we also find out that Wick is set up to be marriage politically to this Ibeka girl, who I guess their family owns this vineyard that has these, I'm guessing, grapes, because if you're a vineyard, then it's probably grapes. But
possibly.
But these fruits that bear this alchemical chemical or material within it that they can dilute the filament with, and they could then increase their production, which is kind of a scary thought, because that means then they're probably going to be widening their control, which is concerning. With Wick shaken now, I think this is like, I think this went exactly as I thought it would. Wick is so brainwashed, I guess you could say, within the beliefs that they gave him.
Even very indoctrinated.
Yeah, so he's so indoctrinated. That's a good way to put it. He's so indoctrinated that he knows nothing else. So his morals and his ever being stands on the morals of their religion that they built, really cult. And because of that, they have really messed up by bringing him into the loop, because it has now made him question everything. Just like I said, he was just going to be like, I don't trust my family anymore. Who do I trust? The people Thiazi trust, because they are good. They were the ones that were going against my family in the first place. They thought the Sundered families were corrupt, and they were going to fight against him. And then my family like had a dealing in putting him down too, because bonuses wanted it. It had to be done, so they did it as well. They were compliant in all of it. So then,
and I will say real quick too.
Yeah.
That I found it super interesting. That when we find out that Tyranny and her sisters, they knew everything.
Yeah. Yep.
There are little moments in their role play that I'm like, okay, this makes a lot more sense, to where he would say something and she's just like, oh, yep, definitely, yep, you're right. And just like, okay, yeah, that was suspicious to begin with, but now I know that it was suspicious. Like, you knew things. Okay, cool.
Okay, yep. It kind of, everything comes full circle, and like, it's like, aha, finally, yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But that brings us, we've been talking about him so much, we might as well get to that part. That brings us to the Pentevral, where we're met with a conversation between Dean Tallbarrel and Murray, kind of worried. I mean, they're worried about everything that's to come, what changes are happening, and as they're talking about this, Primus Draconis comes in, which is Octus's father. He is the youngest son of Primus. We'll call Primus just so we don't get confused with using last names so much. But he comes to the Pentevral to get information about where his son is, and tell the dean that he wants all of the school's resources focused on finding his son. Murray being there, kind of being the sandpaper of conversation she is, she kind of tells Primus, well, fuck you. And that was the closest anyone has come in the campaign so far to permadeath.
Straight up dying.
Yep. Permadeath, yep. Because, as we will find out later, Primus controls the power of death. Just straight death. And Murray got out of that just barely. She is so lucky she's alive, and lucky she's not playing Schmurray. Yeah, that was wild. Especially because, if she would have failed that saving throw, she would have just been basically incapacitated for the most part. And would not have been able to do anything, more than likely, because the saving throw was pretty high. And then she wouldn't have made it to find Azune later, to then go on to get paired up as probably, I would say, one of the schemers or seekers. I don't know. I think I'll go ahead and give my theory of that real quick, that I think one of the groups is going to be Murray, Azune, Hal, and who was my third one? Belair.
Yeah.
Or my fourth one, sorry, Belair. But yeah, I think that will be our 4 for that table. Don't know if there'll be schemers or seekers, because I think that line is so very thin. Like, to be a schemer, you're really doing it behind, like, closed doors, and it could be nefarious. And the seekers are probably people that are trying to find the truth and trying to find it the right way. So, and really, both groups look like they could do either. So I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Which we'll find out next episode, because that's whenever we're going to get sending both tables off on their ways. And then I also, what I said earlier about that episode 5 was definitely going to be our soldiers. We got that confirmed as well. So with where we're at, we'll go ahead and go on, because like there's not a whole lot that happens at the Pentevril other than Murray almost getting
Possible death.
Yeah, possible death. We did find out that Octus is in trouble, in fact, like that he is actively being searched for. Which we will find out he is in way more trouble than we even think. Which then we come to the Crow Keeper's Den. Get our first combat. Our first true combat, that is. And our first true battle board, which, I mean, was very small and kind of complicated, but it had to be. It was a building, it was a little tavern that had multiple rooms, it was a Crow Keeper's hideout where they were going to be doing all their dealings. Now, this is where they typically count their money, and they're not doing stuff at night. They work at night, so they're counting their money, getting things together at the Gray. What was it? The Gray. What was it called? Gray Castle, the Gray Keep. I think it's called the Gray Keep. Where they don't find Casimir, but they find the guildmaster of the Crow Keepers. And as soon as they bring up Casimir, battle sparks up. They try to put Thimble in a bag. I'm gonna do this for a while. This is gonna be a problem, dude. It's gonna be a problem. Dude. I mean, at least it's for the person that had Trinket. I mean, it's not like she.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so neat.
So Thimble, they try to put her in a bag. She escapes for a while, but they end up getting her in it. Everything is going really badly for them, which I do, like, this sounds bad, but I do love that. What this gives us is that it shows that high stats don't mean everything. Rolls can really screw you. I've seen all over the internet that people have been, I wouldn't say they're complaining, but they're talking about it a lot, that these stats are crazy. I will say, I don't think it's too crazy for level 3. I, myself, in our campaign, the Ashyn Realm, I have all of our characters pretty high stats because I like that idea that our characters, like, through their lives and what they've done, they already have their strengths built up already. And then once they add on becoming an adventurer, you just amp that up a little bit more. So I like the idea that early on you have stats that aren't, maybe not fully maxed out, maybe sometimes fully maxed out, and then you take a hit like Thimble, where she has her dexterity, I think, at 20, and then her strength is at, I think, a 6 or at a 4. That's a good trade-off. Like, I mean, if you're a rogue, that's awesome.
Plus, something that I tell people all the time, if they have any interest in D&D, that this is less of a lot of people are thinking, like, oh, this is like a video game sort of deal. It's like, no, it's more like a fantasy opera.
Opera, storytelling experience.
Stage.
Like, yeah, you are a group of people telling a story, and it's happening real time. It's not like
yeah, you want to win, but the failures really, like,
make
like
the stories
a beautiful tragedy.
Happen. Yeah. Like the lows, the lower the lows are, the higher the highs feel. And that's
exactly.
And that's kind of where we are. Like, that's a good transition into this, where they are low. They are getting the shit beat out of them. And then out of nowhere comes Valus, smashing through the window, kicking ass. Like,
which was such a badass moment, too. When I was listening to that, I was just like, I had to stop what I was doing real quick. And I'm like looking around and making, because I'm at work watching this. And I had to stop and just kind of like twiddle my thumbs real quick while I listen and just like not be running things.
It was awesome. And one of the things that I think is hilarious, that I don't know if it was planned by Alexander or not, but the catchphrase, "I'm a child," that just kept, what? I'm a child. You're an adult. I think if this continues to be a running joke for the entire campaign, I wouldn't be angry about
Uh, that would be hilarious. I feel like that was not planned, which I'm hoping. But now that it's a thing, I'm hoping they just keep running
Keep
with it.
running with it. Just keep it going because I think it's hilarious. Um, and then something we get from the ending of this after they beat the crap out of these people, kill the guild master. We have who I would presumably see as the like second in line. Uh,
Which, going into the details of Vela's killing the guildmaster, there was a moment where it's just like, well, do you want to just stop him or do you want to kill him? And so Ashley Johnson, being the badass that she is, in my personal opinion, was just like, I think I want to kill him.
well, I think that also comes from. I think he specifically asked her that because that comes from her character. Fae beings, immortal beings, do not
Well,
see
no, yes,
human
absolutely,
lives
but
the
she
same.
played into it, and I loved
Right,
it.
right, right. No, that's what I'm saying. Is that like I think that comes from her character also. That like her character is this immortal being that does not see human life the same way. And furthermore, see these people within dol-makjar as like they're the ones that killed the gods. Fuck these people. I don't care. Like these are the descendants of the ones that killed the one that I believed in, and now I have nothing to believe in. Boop. Who cares? You didn't care about
Yeah.
my immortal god. I don't care about your peon life. Like I think that kind of goes like that may be going a little deeper than it actually runs, but like I think that's kind of the
I think you're spot on though. That also reminds me, who is it Octus that has the fox?
yes. Octus has the little undead fox that has like bits and
Yeah,
pieces from
and,
another fox.
and he and Valus is the one who also is just like, looks at him and is like, "What a beautiful creature."
Mhm.
And then later on, she's also the one that just like has the fox on her shoulder and is just like totally happy with it. And Octus is just like, "Wow, most people are like afraid and think it's disgusting and all of that," and she's just
I
like
have
totally down with it.
I have a full theory about that. I think the
Oh,
reason
cool.
I think the reason she has a high interest in necromancy and Octus and the fox and all of that and like seeing that you can animate something and then also it have this care and love and personality and she's interested in it because she wants to bring her god back to life. She wants to bring what she loves back. And
Because she's constantly asking, like, how did you do this?
yep, she wants
When
to
did you
know.
do
She
this?
wants to be able to do it. And I think that's where we're going to end up getting this very deep tie between Octus and Valus, because I think at some point down the line, maybe the story is that Octus tries to help Valus bring their god back to life because their god actually might have been a decent, not one of the ones like the god of war who was forcing them to uh, which I mean, I think that's something we, yeah, I think that's something we get into here in a bit, but like in the um on the stage where the God of War forced them to put on performances to ease his tyranny. Um, like maybe not all the gods were bad. Maybe that's what we're finding out is that maybe that some of the gods were bad, but the mortals decided because a couple of them were tyrannical, we're going to snuff out all light for immortal beings to become tyrannical and kill all the gods. Just in case any of them decide, oh hey, I see that these beings just killed a god. I'm going to tighten my reign everywhere else too. So like that, because like I can see where the mortals would come from on like, oh hey, one god became bad. What if all of them one by one start to become bad? Then we may be in this dilemma where we're constantly having to go to war to kill off one god after another as they go feral, in a sense. And
Right.
and instead, let's just go to one war, let's take them all out and be done with it. Even if some of them are good, we're just protecting ourselves as an insurance, you know? And Valus could have been on the worst end of that, where their god was completely innocent. Who knows? And that could
I've
be
had
where
those thoughts as well,
Yep.
but
So,
I definitely think that Valis does have an interest in necromancy.
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with how like whenever she killed the guildmaster with that guiding bolt, and how Brennan described it as what was once this green, beautiful, vibrant energy is now black and dead and just nothingness anymore. And like I believe that's a description of like maybe before the her I forget the sisters of whatever it was. Um that could have been they could have been like almost like hippie druid like priests or priestesses. Um and now that their god is dead, they're now forever mourning because they are immortal creatures like the elves are. um so then it just leads to them kind of creating this new, I guess, culture or um belief system based around the death of their god. Because a lot of D&D, maybe not maybe the gods are dead, but a lot of times in D&D they stick around because of the amount of belief that people have. So it could be that the echoes or the reverberations of this god are still around in this.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
But and also from this, I'm so happy that we were right about Sid, and that we found out that
Oh
he
yes,
freaked out, acted on his own, and then went to the keeper's den, took the, or not to the den, but went to Sid Casimir
yeah,
and stole the deed and ran. Like, I'm happier that's what happened than what the alternative was. Um, but I'm fearful for Sid because like he has a whole posse of crow keepers
right. That are
willing to
pretty
kill
much gonna,
close friends
yeah.
for money. And even so
And,
back
and let's also not forget that we know that for sure now because uh, of the thieves that were there when Valis came in, they left one alive,
that
and that
and
one was
then
interrogated.
yes, that and then also because later on we find out who they were hired by too, because
Hmm.
we find the stone of a night song later on, and that will tell us who Casimir was working for, which I honestly already knew. Like I like at the point whenever they said that Casimir had all this like crazy art gear on, had all this money, and blah 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 blah. I knew that it wasn't they sold the stuff. It was that they were hired to do something, because there was no way they sold this whatever they had and made that much money. They were hired to steal all this stuff and was paid more than what this stuff would have been worth. Um,
With the deed.
no, with everything. Everything. He was wearing like he was decked out in all of this garb that they had no clue where they got it from. They had all this money that they don't know how they got it. And it was from the Draconuses. They were hired by the Draconuses to go steal this stuff because they needed the Stone of Night Song to implant it in where we know it's going now, and that's where they got all the money from. Was because
That's the question that I have is about the deed because Hal had a deed on his desk, right?
right.
And then it talks about Casimir having a
Two
deed
separate
or
deeds, two
owning a
separate
deed.
ideas, two separate things.
Okay, that's where I like
Completely
got
separate.
like
So
intertwined in my brain.
Hal, which is where we're going to be going here in a second, or I think actually, yeah, that's where we're going next. Hal, he came into ownership of the theater where they used to have to put on performances for the God of War. That's what the deed is for Hal. for Casimir, there is a stronghold up north that they now have the deed for. Well, Sid has the deed for. And that's where Thimble, Tayor, Tyranny, Wick, and one other. Who am I missing? Cadigan. Because that was one of the things, which we'll get to that later, but Cadigan's one of the characters that caught me off guard a lot, and I'll explain what I mean by that when we... But speaking of getting there, we'll go on to where, with Hal and a good group of the others, get to the Hallowed Round Theater. Where we have Hal, Taisha, Shadia's there, Belair will end up being there, and we find out that I believe that... No, we don't find out this just yet, but I do believe that Hal has 2 baby mamas. That is one of my theories right now.
Yeah. I feel that one.
Just because of a later mention. But here at the Hallowed Round Theater, we're seeing where they tore down so much stuff here, because during the war, the Shapers' War 80 years ago, any symbol that was of the God of Wars, he could then cast spells through and do just different things. They had to vandalize a lot of it just for their own protection during the war. But then, furthermore, in the hatred of the gods, it was further vandalized, and they're having to clean that up, get it ready, because Hal's dream for this place is that once we came here to appease the gods' wrath, but now we're going to be here to celebrate ourselves. And I believe that is a beautiful transition for this place. When Bolair rolls up with the paints, which I was hoping whenever we hear about the paints and they show up and everything, that we were actually going to get more information about the paints, but we really don't. The only thing we get is that no one understands why Bolair has them. Bolair doesn't understand why he has them and why they showed up how they did, because he's very aware of every inch of the alloy wing of the museum, and he normally knows everything that comes in and out, and he did not know how this got there. With that, he doesn't understand why he was given it, because yes, he did dealings with Thiazi, but he was not that close to Thiazi. And then during all of this, Bolair has this moment of realization that there is something boiling within the city. Like, I don't know if that literally means there's something arcane beneath the city that is like magically boiling, or if that is just a metaphor, which I'm assuming it's a metaphor, that something is boiling within the city, and something magical causes him to realize this. Something magical about this place in the Hallowed Round Theater made him feel this uneasiness, this slithering feeling inside of him that makes him feel like something is wrong. Here we also get a kind of a heart-to-heart with Taisha and Shadia. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way so I don't have to touch on it later. I am not the biggest fan of Taisha.
Of Shadia.
Yeah, of Shadia. No, of Taisha. She is, I feel like, the bad mother version of Keyleth, who I know most people do like Keyleth, especially as you get further into campaign 1. But I just had such a bad taste for Keyleth, so early on that I didn't really like her that much. Like, I love Marisha Ray as a voice actor, and I love her in everything else. It's just, for whatever reason, I don't like Keyleth as a character. I think she's played well by Marisha Ray as well. I just don't like the character arc, or that character
And I'll
type.
say, because I am further into campaign 1, that I think that if you just have some patience and you have a little of the acknowledgement that, like, man, she's probably just really having fun, she's into it, and this is kind of a little bit of who she actually is anyway.
Right.
Yeah, you'll learn to love Keyleth, but I also understand where it's like, I wouldn't call it main character syndrome. I've heard, I've read some people say that. It's like, no, it's not main character syndrome. That was definitely, Tiberius.
Yeah, yeah. That was definitely that.
But,
But yeah.
and Obria is awesome.
Yes.
But
I do like
Taisha right
Obria.
now is kind of like, I think we're like,
I feel
you
like
are
she's a
really
little
throwing
much.
emotion into it right now.
I feel like she's a little much right at the beginning. Like, she has like all of these very like weird, odd moments that are just like overly.
The first one that I thought of was whenever she's like, "Well, I'm just gonna go shot to shot with this demon." It's like,
There's
I
that.
would not go shot to shot with a demon, but okay.
And then also, like, the moment where, like, she's like, I'm in this place that has all this history and all of this camaraderie, like, all of, like, whenever she does that, I think it's a little too over the
Much.
top. Like, I feel like if she would have dialed it back just like a notch or two, it would have just been right there, maybe teetering that line, kind of being perfect where she needed to be. But I feel like, especially whenever she does the moment whenever they do the wolf moment here in a bit, that I felt like was just way too over the top. Like, you're a wolf, stop saying so much, you're a wolf, you're not gonna say much as a wolf. So,
Yeah.
like, that was one of my, like, she just needs to dial back the theatrics. Like, it is a theater, but
I'm
there.
gonna assume that it's gonna be something that we're gonna grow into, and
Right,
that
right, and it's gonna be
Brennan
an
is
early a
he's good
payoff.
enough to where he'll also build around that too, without needing to dial anyone back. He'll build around it.
Right.
It's kind of like how people say that Liam is always the there was a word that someone used. I'm like, oh, that's funny. But he's always kind of like the sad, emotional, borderline like emo guy. I get that, but I think people are looking at only that sometimes, and they don't see everything else that he's doing.
Yeah, Sam. You're talking about Sam, right?
No, I'm talking about Liam O'Brien.
Oh, Liam. I don't know why I thought you said
Sam
Liam.
is
Yeah.
definitely not
Yeah, I
the
was like,
emo guy.
that's why I was like, wait, what? No, I don't know why I heard Sam, but yeah, Liam. Yeah, yeah, they do always, but like character either. Like, Liam isn't. Liam's playing a theater kid, a grown-up
Yeah, I
theater
mean,
kid. He's playing himself.
literally, like, not to do any spoilers, and kind of a spoiler to anyone who hasn't been kept up with campaign 1, but if
I
you're
mean,
not there by
honestly, if
now
you're
in
not there,
campaign
you're not
4,
there. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, well, I mean, come on, that's like 3 campaigns ago.
Yeah.
Vax, literally where he's at right now, where I'm at, I'm not finished with it either, but he's already accepted death. He's ready to die. That is the emo character that people think that Liam is trying to be right now. It's like, no, not at all.
Yeah, he's playing my brother just died, and I think I'm gonna have to take up where he left
The
off.
mantle, yeah, like
Yeah,
like, we're not there yet, but there's a sword.
yeah, and we're getting there. We're getting there. And I honestly really thought that he was going to be like, whenever he took up the sword and was like going down there with them, I thought he was going to be a part of the sword group or the soldiers at first. I was like, holy crap, he's going to take up the spot of where I thought like was it that would have been missing from there, where Julian was going to be.
Oh
Because
yeah.
like I thought he was going to take Julian's place on the sword or on the soldier side of things, and I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. But no, it was literally that Wick was taking that spot, which
Yeah,
I
which
thought
is
was wild as well.
and I love that because as we've said before, Sam has some of the most engaging character development
Oh yeah, the best.
out of
Like
anyone,
he's
and
gonna
it's
go from
amazing.
this character that believes he's the best and found out that he's not, to he's going to gain some humility and some perspective on everything. And I love
I
that.
kind of I'm really hoping that because he's been like this, I am the follower of the light. The light gives everything to kind of like still a good guy, but I have a new mantle now. I have this purpose, and it is to destroy the light.
Right. Well,
In
basically,
a
yeah.
sense,
Or
but
like to reform the light to what it was before and maybe
yes,
destroy what it is now, which I think would
because I
be a
mean they
very
have
cool character arc for sure.
yeah, because they have the celestial angel in a basement in an Iron Maiden. It's like, oh, these are not good guys.
Yeah, these aren't good people. They're lying about all of it the entire time.
It's like, hey, how's everything going?
It'd
It's like,
be
oh well, I've just been torturing an angel in the
Yeah, I
basement,
mean,
but
it'd be different because like of how they see the gods and the celestials and everything. It'd be different. Like you could be saying like, "Hey, this celestial went feral, but we're trying to keep what it gave to us as like a flowing. Like if we were to take this away, then look what things would crumble beneath it, you know? But since we're keeping this going, we're able to like it'd be different, you know? They could build something around it if they were a little teensy bit more honest
it,
about it. Just a teensy
I
bit.
like how Brennan made a point to make sure that the rows and rows of teeth
We're human like.
were not pointed. They were human like. Like he made a point of that, and that tells me something. Not sure what it is yet, but that
It says
tells
something.
something.
Yeah, it is something. Brennan's really good about trickling in these details early on, and like I mean throughout everything. Like he's a master of putting in like episode one will have details that come to fruition or make connections at episode 20 or episode 30. You know, it's whatever that means. We'll figure out pretty soon, and it may be that like maybe we're all wrong about what the Shapers' War truly was.
I think we are.
Um,
I think we're totally wrong.
right.
At least like what we know of as the audience. But I think what is being told so far, if you just take that at face value, totally wrong. That's my theory.
Oh
That's
yeah,
my
I think so
opinion.
too. But let's move forward into the Marshals uh alliance, the arcane marshals making their patrols where Murray runs into Azune and they have their conversation about like what's going on, about House Draconis, about the Halavars, um, about how the Revolutionary Guard is being taken over and how the Pentevral is getting controlled. They have a very quick conversation before they both come to the realization we have to find Octus. Like that's probably our most important mission right now is find Octus. Um, which I mean, do you have much that you want to say there? I didn't really think there was a whole lot to break down about that was kind of cut and clean. You know, they didn't drop any lore or anything.
I don't think that I have much to say on this, aside from anything that we already know. Like we know who Azune is, we know who Murray is. We probably could know a little bit more about the Revolutionary Guard and the Pentevral, but that's something that will come later on,
Oh
and
yeah.
how all of that is intertwined. But other than that, this I agree was kind of a cut and dry area.
It was
This
just
was
kind of
just-
an interaction. Kind of your
Here's what's happening, and then yes.
move on. Let's go to the next thing. Yeah. So with that, we will do just that as well. We return back to the courtier, where Tayor is being fitted. They start talking to him. Tayor gives a very fake name, and the twins continue with their attack, we'll say. Where
Attack's a nice way to put it.
right. We find out that Wick and Tyranny hours later show up and are
After
trying
Tayor
to
drinking sherry.
Yeah, after Tayor drinking sherry and being having hold person casted on him and everything, he's
With the incense.
shackled up with he's shackled at the wrists and ankles, held upside down, and they're cutting pieces of his shadow apart, which part of me
I
feels,
don't know what that means.
I will say I have not a theory, but I have like a thought on it, that it might
I have a thought on it as well.
It might be a reference, and we might be finding out that Brennan Lee Mulligan is a One Piece fan. Because there's a character in One Piece that they use shears to cut people's shadows off. And then he consumes the shadow, essentially. And then if the person, like if he does not release their shadow back to them, then they can never be in the sunlight again. And one of their comments to him afterwards was, "Come sunrise, you would have been for a hell of a ride."
Wow.
So,
And
that could have been...
the snipping of shears.
Yes, the snipping of shears. And so that could have been what he was referencing there. It could have been
How
that,
very astute of you.
But it also could have been that, because that's Gecko Moria, if you wanted to look that up. It's he has this fruit that allows him to detach the shadow from people, and I believe that might be in this. It might be a reference as like shadows are connected to the person's soul, because a part of the deal with the demons is that the Halavars will give them souls, and I like them cutting up the soul or the shadow makes me think that the shadow has some connection to the person's soul.
Wow, now that you have said that makes so much sense to me. And as we've said before, Brennan is very good at red herrings.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on, but the title of this episode is The Snipping of Shears. That makes a lot of sense.
I feel like it has
and this
to
was
have
just
some
a quick
connection.
event too.
Yeah, it just happened so fast.
So this is something we're going to have to focus on the next episode. It's like, see where this goes.
Kind of see where that... Well, we may not even see where that thread goes, because every single person in this room is going to the north, and we're not going to see until episode 5. So we may have to revisit this and table this until then. So we'll see how that goes.
I forgot about that too. Goodness.
But we get them leaving, Tayor stumbling out just in time, being saved just in time by Wick and Tyranny. Wick
let me ask one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's bound in a pentagram. I don't remember. Did they describe that at all?
So he's bound, and it's what looks like drawn is a pentagram below him. And what I believe this is it's a like continuous hold person spell. Is that while he's here, while he's in this pentagram, he's not going to be able to move, because as soon as he swiped it away, I think that's when Tayor was able to move again.
So kind of like a glyph, I guess.
Yeah, it was like a glyph of hold person. Yeah.
Okay.
Is what I would assume. Like,
I was just wondering, because he specified a pentagram, so I'm like, okay, so that's 5 points.
Fiendish magic. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was just wondering, like, maybe I think maybe I'm looking too much into that part.
Which also something I forgot to mention is Tayor recognized the smell of the
the incense.
and it took him back to the 9-pointed star that he saw on the battleground during the Falconer's Rebellion. So, something again we are going to need to table for later is what does that mean? And that the let's see here, the sapphire orchid.
Sapphire, yes.
Does that have something to do with anything? So that's something we're gonna have to keep in our minds.
And sapphire itself is going to be something we'll have to keep in our minds.
So sapphire orchid. But to kind of go further in,
yeah, we've got Wick and Tyranny. They're coming in.
oh, we're past that. They came in, saved him. He stumbles out. They stumble him out of the portiere. And I believe that's where they kind of head off towards Hal's house. And that's where kind of a lot of paths converge here. Because the paths converge at Hal's house before Hal gets back. Julian arrives with Thimble, Cadigan, Valus, and Octus returning to the house. And Octus is disguised at the time. But Julian kind of, I think, knows that it's Octus just because recognizing the voice. But
yeah, he knows his voice.
He just kind of plays it off as like, well, hey, just to let you know, I need to talk to Octus very soon because he is in grave danger. And that, I believe, is what kind of him warning them, I think, is what builds him getting trust with them. Before, I don't think he was gonna get anywhere with them, but I think him being like, hey, I want to let you know he's in danger, just let him know, and then kind of kept going. And then he drops the disguise, and when he does, he kind of peers back around, and after they've had their little conversation of maybe I should go talk to him, Julian kind of peers back around, like, hey, Octus, I knew it was you, let's go. And they go.
And of course, that was after Thimble comes at him, and Julian just grabs her wings.
Oh, yes.
And at that moment, it's like Octus is like, "Hey,
that's not okay.
Not be doing this."
Yeah, that's not okay. So yeah, we have that, and the Octus and Valus go with Julian, where Thimble and Cadigan stay at Hal's house, waiting for the return of Hal and Taisha.
And this is where Valus and Octus have that kind of interaction with the fox,
where they start
which
to
she
talk
calls
about
Pincushion.
Yeah, Pincushion. Well, no, that's his name. He just nicknames him Pin. He's named Pincushion because he's sewn together.
Right, but he says Pin. She's the only one that I've heard so far that actually says Pincushion.
Right. I think he does. I think Octus does.
Maybe he said it once.
I think he does say his name is Pincushion, but I call him Pin. I think. I may be
I think
wrong
you're
about
right.
that,
Yeah.
But I think he says it once. It's brief, and if you missed it, you didn't it. It was easy to miss.
Which would be also really awesome, considering that Valus is an elf. Lived a very long time, so she would use the full name Pincushion.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, we get to where Al and Taisha return to the home, and Taisha is kind of in a panic that Octus went off with Julian, which I mean is good for kind of good reason. Julian is the one that kind of arrested Thiazi, causing him to be executed, Octus was saved by Thiazi and tried to help with the escape of Thiazi. Julian is looking for Octus because of that, and we don't know like what the Davinos family wants to do with that information, and with him afterwards. Exactly. I mean, we vaguely know, but we don't know all what their plans are. With that, Taisha transforms into a wolf to go track him down. So then that's where Taisha kind of leaves the scene. But that is where Azune and Murray arrive with the news about the Revolutionary Guard and how they're hunting down Valus, the murderer, at the Crow's Keep, and they got a good look at her.
Murray, very lucky to be alive.
Still very lucky to be here and not being Schmurray.
The distant relative.
Yes. Thimble reveals Casimir's betrayal, kind of sparking a fire underneath Thimble, Cadigan, and Azune, Murray, and everybody, where Tayor walks in with Wiccan Tyranny getting the information as well. Learning that his brother
poisoned.
Still poisoned, and is now learning that his brother is in danger, that he did not betray the group, and that he is actually very, very like deadly loyal. And now they're like, everyone wants to go north to try and remedy this situation. But in this, we get, as they're talking, we get Hal leaving. He's starting to feel that, feel the urgency that it is his time to step up, where his brother has left the space, where you were talking about.
Yeah, and they stand shoulder to shoulder. And you'll have to remind me of the conversation that they had. But it seemed like they were connecting. He says, for some reason, I trust you. And we know from the cooldown that he really was kind of really just kind of gathering his thoughts, because he wants to talk to his father, but he's trying to figure out a way to do it. And he's also happy to have someone that, for whatever reason, he feels like he can trust. And Valus herself says, for some reason, I feel like I can trust you too. I think they're both just forthright. And then, if we're ready for it.
Well, before that, we do get the reveal that from Lady Aranessa, that the Fey gates have closed because the world of death is like kind of clogged up. It's overfilling with souls, and there's just an imbalance that's worsening kind of every day because of the death of the gods. And that basically, like, we're kind of having a realization that whatever happened in the Shapers' War was either a corruption of the mortals, or we're finding out that it was a mistake, that they really messed up doing this. So that's kind of what we're coming to the realization of, and kind of right as they're saying this, downstairs we have Valus, that I think it was Valus that had the crazy roll on perception or arcana, and realize that there are many specters everywhere. Yes. There's like hundreds of people around them, and out of nowhere you see that as Julian's father comes out, General Raymond comes out to talk to Julian, and you just see this ethereal thing grab a hold of his skull from within his head and pull it forward out of his head, out of the skin, and him just collapse there, dead instantaneously. And we learn
death.
We
skull
essentially
and spinal
learn.
Cord.
Yep, we essentially learn that the Draconuses have some sort of ability to cause instantaneous death. whatever that spell is, I have no clue. I've kind of looked around. I don't know exactly what this could be. I think this might be one of the homebrewed spells that they've concocted.
Obviously something ethereal, but other than that,
yeah, no clue. And then upstairs we have a knock on the door, and then the door opens where we have Octus's brother coming inside, saying, holding the Stone of Night Song, saying, "Grab him and cut him open. We're gonna put this stone where it belongs."
we'll open him up and we'll put the stone where it belongs.
Yep. So, and then it just cuts from there. In Brennan Lee Mulligan fashion, we have to leave on a big old cliffhanger. I think what this is the Chaconas family are trying to turn him into a sorcerer, or give him, like, bring him into the loop, or maybe what they're trying to do is this is a way to reincarnate the god of death to try and fix this issue. And I think honestly that maybe this is a way to, because their bloodline has a connection to death in some way, because that's how sorcerers happen. That magic gets entwined into your bloodline. That they have, or it becomes in contact with you. It doesn't have to be in your bloodline. That's how draconic ones and draconic sorcerers happen. But their connection to death could be what allows them to use Octus as a vessel to become the new god of death, using the Stone of Night Song. I'm not sure how sound that theory is just yet, but that is my working theory right now, because I don't have any other reasoning behind that other than that they're trying to reincarnate the god of death.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with you, especially because we have a whole theme. We have a running theme right now. We started out with death saving throws. We have a tortured 30-foot angel that is being used for filament, which is for who knows what right now, but everything seems death. We have a paladin.
Yeah, we have a paladin that's connected to a god that has died. We have we have the box of the halfling celestial of death. Yeah, so like it's just,
I forgot about that one. Yep.
There's a lot of death. Yes, you're right. There's a theme of death and angels of death and stuff like that. So I'm curious of what this holds too. Other than that, do you have anything else you want to say on that topic there?
I don't. I wish I did, because there's many things.
Honestly, there's a lot of open threads. Yeah, there's a lot of open threads. And
so I could just start posturizing about things, but I'm curious about Hal and the sword.
True. I really want to know about the sword. Everyone, I will say, has an interesting weapon so far. Hal has his magical weapon. Valis has her whip sensor. Cadigan has his, like, interesting bludgeoning weapon with a sharp edge as well. Thimble uses needles. Just everyone that's shown a weapon so far. Tayor's super heavy flail. We just have like a bunch of interesting weapons this go around.
Also, speaking of Tayor, I'm curious. Like, they already started to cut away at his shadow.
Well, no, they did say it reconstituted.
Oh, they did say that?
Mm-hmm. He did say it reconstituted.
Okay, I forgot about that part. I was wondering, like, okay, is this going to come back to bite later on? But also, those twins, do we think that they were truly confident as, like, okay, we'll let them go, these are orders, or do you think they're scheming something in the background?
I don't think they're scheming something in the background. I think what happened is they have no way of proving that we can't do this, but they know who they can go to, and they're probably going to go to that person, and that's probably why Tyranny and Wick have to get out of town. Is before those tailors can get back to the family, they need to leave because otherwise things are going to start popping off pretty in their against them.
That makes sense. I love how not cinematic, but I love how interesting that scene was when it was introduced, because like when they came in, one of the I forget the names. One of the twins was just like, what's going on. The other twin came out with the shears. So in my head, I just imagine like mid snipping, this twin comes out and is like, oh, okay. I guess I'll stop doing that.
Yeah, let me go fix this. Yeah. So on that, I will move over to our announcements real quick. We now have our first and second episode already up. We had to scramble to get those up because we kind of got behind on the release of each episode and us trying to get ahead of it and everything. But now we have our schedule. Each Critical Role episode comes out Thursdays on Beacon. For those of you who have a Beacon subscription, we will be posting our video on Monday. So if you want to watch their episode, kind of get some time to digest it, and then hop over with us to try and kind of break down what happens and get our 2 cents on the scenario. We'll be doing that on the following Monday. So if you're watching this, then obviously episode 3 came out last Thursday. Now, forward, how we're wanting this to run is if you do not have time to spend 5 hours watching each episode all the time, we get it. Come over, watch us, hang out with us, get the story, get all of what we've got to say about it, and then when you have the time, jump back over and get the real story, because they're going to do a much better job, because the first-hand effect is not as good as the second-hand smoke we're providing. Secondly, if you guys have anything that you guys want to see on this channel, want to see us do, let us know in the comments below. I have some ideas percolating right now, and maybe we'll do some subscriber goals, some like goals, whatever, and then we'll talk about getting those extra videos out. But
feedback and critique are very welcome.
Always.
It helps us
welcome.
grow.
It helps us grow, helps us learn what you guys want, and it will help bring other people to our little group. But other than that, I think that's all we've got for you guys tonight. That'll be us tonight. Peace.
And that wraps up our breakdown of episode 3, The Snipping of Shears. This one really carved deeper into the heart of the campaign. Quiet moments, sharp choices, and tension you could feel through the screen.
Yeah, the way Brennan balances humor with horror this week was masterful. Every character felt on edge, and that final scene, that's going to haunt fans for a while. Next week promises a turning point, though. The seeds are planted, the knives are out. Things are about to get messy.
We'll be here for all of it, scene by scene, on the next episode of Talking Crit. If you enjoyed hanging out with us, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps more adventurers find our recovery group.
You can also catch other episodes in our actual play podcast, The Ashyn Realm, on our channel, Adventurers Anonymous. That's going to do it for us this week. Until next time, keep your rolls high, your hearts full, and just remember to keep talking that crit.